And good, wonderful evening to you, ladies and gentlemen, on this cold January night. That's right, this is the Rickcast, and in a sea of vapid and pompous podcasts, you're watching another one. I am the titular Rick, and I'm happy to be with you on this beautiful Monday. I hope you don't have a case of the Mondays. The 13th of January, 2025, in the year of our Lord, 2025, as we get this year off to a good start, this week off to a good start, right? Hopefully, you're getting into your 2025 groove, making sure that everything is lined up and ready to go. I got 4 stories lined up and ready to go for you tonight. Pickings are a little bit slim. I think everybody's kind of waiting until the inauguration next week. We have a story or two that kind of dovetails into that as we talk about it. One is definitely about it, the inauguration security and how everybody's starting, at least everybody on the right, maybe not everybody, but there are a lot of people, myself included, that are tightening up just a little bit at the thought of the inauguration taking place in Washington, D.C., in the swamp, in the place that is so desperate to get Trump. One of Trump's traits is that he is so, I don't want to say, because anything I say is going to sound like I'm brown nosing. I don't want to say hard-headed because I don't think that's the trait. But I don't want to say bold because I don't want to sound like one of these MAGA types. It is within his nature that if you tell him not to go to DC because it's not safe, he's going to go to DC just because. So there's that. We have a couple things, the FBI and the Secret Service and, you know, I'm assuming it's the lesbian chief of police in Washington. They're like, it's all fine. Don't worry about it. We have the best and brightest. We're good. So we're going to talk about the inauguration security. Jennifer Rubin is resigned from the Washington Post. Why do you care? That is a great question. It is a representation of the failing media's chicken coming home to roost moment, essentially saying the idea that a lot of people had was, hey, the left wants Trump to go back into office because they were making buku money when Trump was in office because their ratings were never higher and they can't wait. The problem is that was a one-time gig. It was a one-time deal. It was a one-time ticket. They didn't know it. Anybody outside of the bubble could have told you, hey, man, I hope you make enough money on this one because there is no return trip. What do I mean? There's no way for you to regain your credibility. And when he gets back into office, there's no way you can just flip the switch and be like Hitler bad, blah, blah, blah. Because how could he leave, take 4 years off, and then come back and then still be, Hitler bad? So the fact is you have the Washington Post and you have these other outlets that are business investments. I know the people that work in these institutions try to hang their hat on these ideas that they are the defenders of democracy, right? Democracy dies in darkness and all of this other nonsense. But the fact of the matter is it's a business. And the owners of these corporations, the LA Times, Washington Post, eventually they understand that newspapers are dying business, but they like to keep it running for as long as possible until then. So that's an interesting commentary. Trump met with Fetterlurch, as I like to call him, Fetterman, and we're doing it again. We're doing it again. And it's funny now because the people that are calling out Stephen A. Smith and John Fetterman for doing the rounds on the conservative net. Like, I know Stephen A. Smith won't shut up about how much he loves Trump now after voting for Kamala. And Fetterman is out there meeting with him. And you have all the people that joined the conservative movement after 2016 who were propped up by loser conservatives who were just so happy to be part of the club and everybody loves us and now they're like, hey, well, you can't do this to Fetterman. Let's not platform these other people. the only people that get to say that is me. Okay. The only people that get to say that is me. Actual people with conservative values can, because you people who just showed up with TPUSA, with TPUSA, you don't get to tell us your conservative values, because most of you guys, if the check ran out tomorrow, would probably go back to being liberals. It's that simple. But we have that. And then I have an update on the LA fires, because that will never go out. And somebody tried to say this over the weekend that, California probably is going to go red now because of the fires, guys. You watch out. To which I need to get a fire marshal bill quote. No, it's not. It's not, homie. I know it's a nice thought that California's going to have this wild swing to the right, and it's going to be a red stable because really? You're silly. You're a silly goose, because that's not the case. Steph Jones, good evening. Thank you for hanging out with me. Trump is doing a rally before the inauguration in D.C. That is correct. He loves it. He loves the limelight. You're right. The guy's been in the limelight his whole life. So he had, Hannah Claire Brimlow said on Quartercast that you think Trump's going to miss an opportunity to have his, supermodel wife and his 7-foot tall kid, Barron, and all his other kids walking with him down Main Street, I believe it is, Pennsylvania Ave, whatever the Ave is, to the White House and all this other kind of stuff. You're right. 100%. That's part of Trump's thing. He loves it. He embraces it. He seeks it. So you can't fault him for that. It's got him this far. So you can't be mad at a dude for trying in that regard. So let's kick this pig and get these stories out here and try to bring you up to speed a little bit. And the goal of this show, for all of you who are new, is I'm not going to try and give you stories with opinions. I am not a talking head. There's a lot of people who will try to claim that they're just going to bring you the news, and then they're going to give you their opinion, which is fine. It's America, especially on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. My goal, sincerely, is to just bring you up to speed on 4 stories that I feel are important. Now, will I pontificate on them a little bit? A little bit. But the real goal is to make sure you guys are up to speed on stuff that either is the topic of the day or something that I feel, and I editorialize it because it's my show, that I think should be brought up and that you should be aware of. But my bias. I'm a Catholic conservative. That's what it is. And so I don't try to hide that. And I appreciate y'all watching. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, and let's get started. First things first, this weekend I finished up Landman. The 10th episode of Landman came up. Really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. And Landman was a very enjoyable show to watch. Yes, I get the Ainsley, the daughter. Terrible, terrible character. Terrible plot device. The worst part of the show. 100%, because they don't know what to do with her. And then his wife, for basic things here and there, she's fine. But I mean, besides the fact that Ali Larter is an absolute, she's a delight because she's just off. She's just let herself go off on this role and just being like a total psycho woman. Yeah, I think she's fantastic in it, but the writing is not there for her. Outside those 2 things, the son's storyline is strong, and so, of course, Billy Bob's story is fantastic. It's an enjoyable show. I liked it, and the clip of him talking to the lawyer about being on the moral high ground and all that stuff. Great line. Great stuff. And I enjoyed it. Hopefully it won't take like 9 years to get a season 2. Hopefully they will do a season 2. But yeah, I followed that up. Good evening, G Monday. Hope you're having a good Monday. So yeah, I watched that. That was not the highlight of my weekend, but one of the things I did this weekend. And it's interesting because that show's done. These 10 episode little mini seasons, which is weird. Back in the day, you'd have at least 20 episodes of shows like Landman or something like that. Now it's gone. Now it's going to take, I don't know how long to write, shoot, and do all this other kind of stuff. But we'll see what happens with that. But if you saw Landman, let me know what you think in the comment sections down below. Did you like the ending? Did you not like the ending? I thought it was fine. I did find it was interesting. They did a lot. It was 120 minutes. No, it was 120 minutes. It was a 70-minute. It was longer than usual. Didn't feel that way. But a lot of extra shots that weren't needed, a lot of tracking shots, a lot of B-roll that I was like, we don't need any of this, but whatever. They had to fill time, I guess. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I have one hot take for you all before we get into our show. And that is, I think China, they've already got their second, because they're the Chinese. They've already got their TikTok replacement ready to go. Now, you may not see this for a day or two, but just remember where you saw it first. You saw it here on Rickcast. This looks like the newest. I gotta get rid of that one. I don't like that one. I like nope, that one. That's my favorite. This looks like the Chinese replacement here. Zhangzhou, whatever you can. I can't even pronounce English names, so I ain't pronouncing this Chinese name. But in the US, it's called RedNote, and it's hit #1 in the US Apple Store, following news of a possible TikTok ban coming up January 19th. And you know, I actually found this. By the one and only Taylor, what's her name? I'll find it in a second. She retweeted this out saying like, hey, I'm on this new app. It's the hottest new app out there. And I went, oh, look, there's the Chinese app that everybody is going to use now once TikTok is banned. There it is. Taylor Lorenz. I can't believe I forgot her name. So the Chinese app RedNote, this is what she put out, because apparently she got booted off of Blue Sky. She got booted off of all these other places. And she put this out today. Follow me on RedNote, the hottest new social media app in America, which is owned by the Chinese. So when TikTok gets banned in 4 days or 5 days or 9 days or however many stupid days, everybody's just going to migrate over to this thing. And this thing's going to become the newest Chinese spyware app, because they're going to promise a lot of money. That's a big thing, right? TikTok tells you how to make money, and they tell you how to do the things on there. From what I know, my social media manager uses TikTok for me. If you see the Stradcath account on there, I don't touch it, as my producer does, my social media manager does. Apparently, they help you actually make money on that site by telling you how to do what and this. And the reason is they want you to use it so they can gain more information on you. But now that, and it's funny, Kevin O'Leary was on Fox or somebody, and they were talking. He's like, we're not going to buy if they are going to buy TikTok, they're not going to buy the algorithm. They're just going to buy the app. Well, the Chinese aren't going to sell you the algorithm. The algorithm's all they want. The algorithm is the most important part of TikTok. And they're not going to give it to you, because that's going to give you information into how the CCP actually spies on your stuff. I know people have reversed engineered it, but they're not going to give you the code that they use. So I found that funny that he's like, we're not going to buy the algorithm of TikTok. We're going to make it different. Then it's not going to work. Whatever. It doesn't matter. But that's fine. But the idea here is that what is RedNote? So it's the Chinese-owned TikTok alternative that's booming. Tens of millions of Americans are using TikTok, who are girding their loins for a ban, are looking for another Chinese-owned platform, which is called RedNote, which is Xi. Sorry, I don't mean to offend the Chinese. I actually don't care. The Mandarin term for Little Red Book. The digital migration of so-called TikTok refugees comes ahead of the January 19th deadline, when TikTok could face suspension from the US. So all the stuff they're doing to ban the app and make it whatever, it's all for naught. It's all for naught, guys, because they're just going to go somewhere else. They're just going to go to the next platform. They're just going to go to the next place. And this is what they're talking about. So hopefully Elon makes, yeah, right. Well, Elon already has his, so it is what it is. And yeah, glorified spyware, that's not needed. I'm not against TikTok going away. I'm just not a fan of we're gonna fall for RedNote. Yeah. TikTok does terrible thing. Yeah, we talked on Friday about why TikTok was so devastating as far as the introduction of the glorification of the sexualization of young women, and how that was one of the big things in the last. It was funny in the last 5, 6, however long TikTok's been established. Human interaction, relationships between men and women, all straight down the drain. And then, of course, it was only, hyperdrived with OnlyFans and all these other kinds of stuff. So the fact of the matter is, it was hysterical. I was at the gym today. Watch out. And they were talking about TikTok ban, and they were interviewing TikTok creators, which was like a mom in her car. TikTok creators, get ready for the ban. And then this mom that's like, I don't know what I'm going to do when they ban TikTok. Well, yeah, what's the world going to do without your spicy hot commentary of you slapping the phone in your Toyota Prius? Please, don't ban TikTok. We need to have the 45-year-old divorced mom tell us her hot takes on there while screaming into it to the latest, hyper the latest ridiculously rhymed hit pop music. So don't worry, folks. Anything that was going to be accomplished with the banning of TikTok, you had Instagram Reels and you had YouTube and you had Twitter and all this stuff, but the Chinese, they already have something, and people are already rotating over there. So in essence, the Chinese might have outsmarted the Americans again in this term, because not only are people leaving TikTok, now they've actually got more people split into two different apps. And it's going to take how long for the U.S. government to even figure out that, you are on RedNote. Oh, okay, very good. People are just stupid, man. Just absolutely foolish. And TikTok introduced, and Instagram did too, and YouTube eventually caught up. Well, YouTube started it, but you actually had to be talented a little bit to kind of be successful on the YouTube platform. Hence, by the way, real quick, I think I'm like 2 subscribers away from 100 on YouTube, which would be huge because this show on YouTube's less than a month old, or it's right at a month old. So if we can get to 100, that'd be pretty sweet. TikTok, you don't have to be talented. You don't have to be anything to be viral on TikTok. You just have to follow the very simple laid out instructions, find the right music, and you're good to go. So it streamlined this idea that everybody's a celebrity and everybody's a star and everybody's opinion is actually valuable, when in reality, most people's opinions are not valuable. You could even say mine included. I wouldn't be upset about that, but it might be true in some sense. So keep your eye out. I want you to take a note. It's January 13th. How long till the rest of the legacy and alternative media sphere actually tell you about RedNote and how dangerous it is? And remember who you heard it from first. Me, Rick, here on the Rickcast. And like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, hit all the buttons to make sure the show, if you'd like it to, be successful, gain some numbers. If you're on the X machine, hit that retweet button and the follow button. I'm not going to say re-X or whatever, so we can continue to expand the audience. Let's go with Fetterman first. I think that's probably the best story to go with. You can go away. You can go. Here we go. From Breitbart.com. Trump meets with Fetterman. Democratic senator is a common sense person. No. What Fetterman is a politician. Fetterman is perfectly good at being a politician. See, most of you don't realize that or you do, and you're agreeing with me. The Democratic Party does not have politicians. The Democratic Party has activists. That's all they have. AOC, Fetterman, all of them. Crockett, the psychotic rep down from Houston, and they are activists who push agendas. and when they're in power. Hakeem Jeffries, he's an activist. He's not a politician, because the activists have a specific goal that they're trying to accomplish. Fetterman, I would actually say, is an old school politician. He knows that right now, Trump is the kingmaker. Trump is the flavor of the month. He is the man of the hour. He is the guy that, everybody is kissing the ring. So Fetterman, knowing that Trump won Pennsylvania, knowing that the other Democratic senator in the state lost, is trying to appear as if he is a quote unquote common sense person with Trump. Watch his voting record. I guarantee you his voting record will be like, some people say 100%. I'll be nice. Probably 97, 98% with the Democrats. But conservatives are such losers that the 3% will convince them, oh, Fetterman's different, man. He's independent minded, and he doesn't always vote with the Democrats. He votes 100% or 97% of the time with them. He's still going to vote to kill babies. He's still going to vote to take your guns. He's still going to vote to, do all the things that you don't want. But because he's saying base things now and funny things now, and can we retire the term based? It's gone. It's dead. It doesn't exist anymore. You got Fetterman saying stuff like this, so now conservatives think, he's fine.
I'm asking to be named the Pope of Greenland.
Well, do you have a specific?
No, I'm just having a comment. This is going to be the president, and I am not just the senator for Democrats in Pennsylvania. I'm the senator for everyone in Pennsylvania, and my state picked Donald Trump as president, and if I have the opportunity to have that conversation, and I bet we're going to find things to work together for a better Pennsylvania and a better nation, and that's why I'm engaging in this. Just like I've met with all of the nominees. It's about having a conversation with people that we are going to disagree on issues. That's what works.
Yeah, guys, ironically enough, I'm using TikTok, right? Fetterman is a politician. That's all he is. Please do not let your favorite guy, your Timcast, your Dave Rubin, your Benny Johnson, whoever, try to convince you that Fetterman's one of the good ones. He's one of the good ones, guys. He sat down with Trump. He is not stupid. That's what he is. He even said, my state picked Trump. My state picked Trump. So it behooves me to make it look like I pretend to get along with him. So that way, when I had to be reelected, I think he's up for reelection in 28 because he was, or 26 because he was elected in 2020. No, he was done in 2022. No, he was in 2020 because he beat Dr. Oz. So he's up for election in the midterms in 2026. So he's not dumb. He is dumb, but from a political sense, he's as dumb as a fox. And so he knows what he's doing. He's meeting with the right people. He's getting the right coverage. And you're going to hear, just like Stephen A. Smith is starting to make the rounds. I like Trump. I have to always talk to Trump. Okay, Stephen A. Smith. You voted for Kamala. You voted for Kamala literally a month ago. Or like 2 months ago, you told us you had to vote for Kamala. Now you're on the Dave Rubin show. Now you're on the Sean Hannity show. These people are just running for cover. And conservatives, I guess it's part of our nature, right? We're our nature that we are more empathetic. Despite the fact that everybody says we're not, we're cold-hearted, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Despite that fact, we actually have the ability to, it's rooted in the fact that we have little brother syndrome. We always think we're not strong enough to defend our ideas. We're always willing to let somebody else come in and just compromise them just a little bit so we can be liked. The Republican Party and the Catholic Church actually have something very similar in this regard, at least the mainstream Catholic Church, the bishops and so forth. They're so desperate, both institutions, so desperate to be loved by the modern world that they will capitulate and they will put themselves in stupid situations to get good headlines. That's right. That's a perfect point, G-Money. You had Zuckerberg around, talking about how I'm not doing the DEI stuff anymore. And Federal Lurch is like, get out of here, nerd. He's just like, get out of here, nerd. And so now you have him making these rounds, and right on cue, you have all your conservative influencers and all these other silly people who are going to try and convince you he's one of the good guys. He's one of the good guys. No, he's not. He's not one of the good guys, because all he's trying to do is save his job. So there's that. Here on Rickcast, I am the aforementioned Rick. I like and appreciate all of you being with me. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, do all the stuff to help the show continue. Let's get to our second story. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a website that I just found. The editor and publisher.com. Jennifer Rubin exits the Washington Post, joins Norm Eisen to launch a new outlet countering authoritarian threat. Now, if you've ever heard of Jennifer Rubin, I'm sorry, but Jennifer Rubin is the antithesis. She used to be a Republican. Somewhere back in the early days of the Trump administration, you could get a lot of money and make a lot of money, get job security if you went to MSNBC, CNN, one of these places, and said, well, I'm a John McCain Republican and I don't like Trump. And they would put you on, you could rail for 45 minutes and they pay you millions of dollars and it'd be a great thing for you. Same thing here. She made a lot of money over the Trump years. And she said a lot of things that have been inflammatory over the years about pretty much Republicans. And essentially, there was a clip I had. I didn't have it because I honestly did not want to put you guys through listening to her and her voice and trying to talk about stuff. But she represented the establishment media, not Republicans, not Democrats, establishment media, and its overinflated sense of self and how important they felt they were. We are the defenders of democracy. We are the ones who keep the people in power, blah, blah, blah. All this nonsense, which makes you roll your eyes so hard, you're going to get vertigo. And she made a lot of headlines, and she made a lot of made a lot of money in the fact that she was one of the people they would go to on, I think it was NBC. She was on Joe Morning Rose. I don't want to say it, but Morning Joe and his lovely wife, every morning screaming about how Republicans were evil and how the MAGA establishment needed to be burned down. She represented the establishment, and the establishment's deal with the devil, essentially. What was the deal with the devil? Trump's going to get into office, and you have one or two options. Option A, you cover him like any other president, maybe like George W. Bush. You give him some negative coverage. You kind of knock him down because you're a bunch of liberals, but you do not go to the wall like you did during the primary. You're like, oh, he's elected. Now we'll move on. Option B, you go hardcore. He is absolutely psychotic. If we do not get rid of him and we do not convince you that he's Hitler, that everything will be terrible. They went with option B. And you know why? Because in 2016 to 2020, it paid, and it paid well. It paid really, really well back then. That's right, Lou. People seem to jump ship at the drop of a hat. There's no loyalty. There's no loyalty at this stuff. And you can't trust any of these new, these brand new commentators. In fact, I would like you to take me with a little. I mean, some of you guys have been with me for 4 or 5 years from the old station when I used to do my radio show. So you know me. But anybody who's new, take me with as much skepticism as possible. I know Steph does. If Steph's still in the chat room, she took me to task for a couple days, and I appreciate it. You should question people like me. Just because we have a microphone and a camera doesn't give us any more authority or anything than any other citizen or any other member of this union. So the idea was she was that representation. She was the ideal of that deal with the devil. You're going to make a lot of money, but there's no turning back after this. Okay, you take this off ramp, you can never get back on. You take this off ramp, you tell everybody that Trump's the devil, and every single person that's associated with him is a member of a new empire that was looking to, do the worst things to immigrants and all the. You've seen them. You remember the headlines. You know all of it. Now, of course, the cough, cough, jab, jab was rolled up into that. You're going to make that money. But it's a short-term deal, like any deal with the devil. Short term, you're going to get a lot of money in this 5-year period, but after that, it's done. And because these people have so much hubris, they didn't believe this. They're like, oh, yeah, whatever. We'll take it. We'll make our money, but they'll still trust us. We're the media. We're NBC News. We're CNN. How can people not trust us? They even still thought that, even to this election, which was a beautiful thing to watch that night as Trump was winning, and they went, but we had polls and we were certain that Trump wasn't going to win. They took that deal. And the deal is over, because you cannot claim that a man is the newest fascist leader, that he is going to be the dictator of the stormtrooper of the empire, and everybody's going to be in trouble, and women are going to lose their rights, and he's going to put you all back in chains and all this other kind of stuff. Have him go away for 4 years, have untold amounts of lawfare leveled against him, and then have him come back. That's right. They're eating their words right about now. They're eating their words as we speak, and they just don't know how to handle it. They do not know how to handle it, because they can't. There's no way you can walk this back. The Washington Post and the LA Times have come out lately, and Rubin is leaving the Post because Jeff Bezos is going, we're done. We're done. We can't, we can't be so far left. The audience is cratered. I'm losing money. This is ridiculous. The LA Times did something very similar as well. They couldn't print one op-ed because they needed an opposing op-ed. They're trying to regain your trust. The problem is, they've already made their bed, and there's alternatives like the show that you're watching, or your favorite podcast, or whatever, or your favorite blog, or your favorite Substack. There's too many options for people to get their information. Now, if it was just the legacy media and they did this and came back, people would be like, well, you guys made a mistake, but I don't have another option. But they do. But you'll see. I am going to subject you to this. Veteran opinion columnist Jennifer Rubin is becoming the latest in a long list of Washington Post figures to leave the troubled institution. They're going to call it troubled, but troubled is their word for they're not doing everything doing things the way we wanted. Rubin is partnering with a former White House ethic. This is like military intelligence. That's a funny word. White House ethics czar Norm Eisen to launch something new, a startup publication called The Contrarian. The startup's tagline is not owned by anybody, which is ridiculous. It's owned by somebody, or else it wouldn't exist. You can't be owned by it, because if you're not owned by anybody, then it doesn't exist. You can't put it into, somebody has to physically own it. So, stupid title, but what are you going to do? And then she went to Twitter, where she had verbal or writing diarrhea of all kinds of things, talking about, the terrible Republicans or blah, 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 and I hate them, and my life's over. Let's see. There's at least, here we go. First of all, there's your physiology. What's it? Psychology or whatever it is. The whatever the cool conservatives say. The physiology or the whatever. Yeah. Shooting. Yeah. You can see her shirt. Rosa sat so others could walk, or so Kamala could run. Whatever. Get out of here. So I am not going to read all this. You can go to X if you want to. She says, corporate and billionaire owners of major media outlets have betrayed their audience's loyalty and sabotaged journalism's sacred mission, defending, protecting, and advancing democracy. These people are psychotic. They're delusional, because they're like, our job is to protect democracy, while they lie about everything. and whatever it is to advance their agenda. The Washington Post billionaire owner, which up until about November 5th, she worked there. It's not like Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post 2 weeks ago. He's owned it for a pretty long time. So, and this is the thing, they think you're stupid when they write this. She's been taking checks from this guy for years. Years. And now she's going to go, the billionaire owner of the Washington Post. Enlisted management are among the offenders. They have undercut the values central to the Post's mission. No, Jennifer, you and the people that work for the Post undercut your value mission when you took that deal that I was talking about in 2016. When you took that deal, you undermined all that. You said, I'll take the money and I'll deal with the rest later. I cannot justify remaining at the Post. Jeff Bezos and his cronies, which, remember, she was one of his cronies up until about today, accommodate and enable the most acute threat to American democracy, Donald Trump, despite the fact, see, that's the thing. You can't say that line. You cannot say what she just said. The most acute threat to democracy. The guy who left office didn't do anything for 4 years and then just won the popular vote and the Electoral College and is now going back. How in any frame of any reality, right? Everywhere, anything, everywhere, all at once, right? Whatever multiverse you want to exist in, is that a threat to democracy? It's not. But these people, and Jennifer Rubin lives in, as Mike Church calls it, Crane City. She lives in D.C., the bubble of bubbles. It is not a real world, Washington, D.C. It is a fairy tale land. It is Oz. It is Oz, complete with a wizard and everything. So she thinks this, but that's not the case. How is he a threat to democracy when he left and got democratically elected back in? At a time when a vibrant free press, the press has not been vibrant in 20 years. Right? The press has not been vibrant in 20 years. And people want to say stuff. They were calling W Hitler. They called Mitt Romney Hitler. They called John McCain Hitler. The press has not been vibrant since, I'm going to give you a minimum date of 2000. You can tell me in the comment section down below if you agree or disagree with that. Is it long? Is it more? Is it less? I'm open to either one. I think it's longer, but it really kind of spilled out in 2000 with the anger towards Bush and all these other things. And so, you know, that's the only way I can say that is like they lost their mind when Bush won. And they kind of just spiraled. Now, 2012 accelerated it with Obama, accelerated it up, but 2000 kind of is the crack in the wall, at least the way I look at it. So she's going to say that I've resigned from the Post effective today. Like, people are going to go, no, Jennifer Rubin, don't leave the Washington Post. If you leave, then no, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Bye. Right? From Tombstone, the bad guy. Well, bye. Same thing with Biden and his resignation speech, or his farewell address, which will be recorded, by the way. That will not be live. And there'll be 14 takes. Watch his hands and watch the clock behind him. It's going to be like 12-1, 12-1, 7 as they try to piece together a 5-minute farewell address. Nobody cares, Jennifer, that you're leaving. There are too many options. There are too many people like myself and others with much larger audiences that people go to. You're irrelevant. You're only relevant to that 60s generation, that Watergate generation that still believes in the power of the press. And outside of that, you're nothing. You're nobody. Nobody cares. And you got to understand, when you're in this field, I have no inhibitions. If I stop doing this tomorrow, I think a lot of you guys, some of you guys may be disappointed, but you'd go somewhere else. Nobody is irreplaceable. And they make these statements as if they're irreplaceable. Jennifer Rubin, you're not irreplaceable. Nobody on this earth is. So you can write all this stuff. I'm still trying to figure out. You can write all this stuff out. Nobody cares. May make you feel good, but nobody cares. So that is the ballad of Jennifer Rubin leaving the Washington compost, as some have called it, leaving the absolute ruined that is the legacy media and what is going on there. Here we are on Rickcast. I am the aforementioned Rick. Thank you for hanging out with me. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. I'm actually pretty pumped about this number. We have almost 30 people on YouTube. And I know these numbers are nothing compared to like Jeremy from the Quartering and Tim Cass and all these other guys. My show's a month old. And so we got 28 people watching on YouTube right now. You guys are all awesome. Thank you. Got almost about 100 people watching on X right now. You guys are all awesome as well. And, you know, we got people watching on Rumble. So thank you to every single one of you for choosing. And you guys you are choosing to hang out with me, and you're choosing to let me bring you this information. So I thank you. And I never forget that. And I'm always aware that it is an honor for you guys to hang out and choose me to give you this information. So thank you. Thank you very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to our next story, covering the fires out in LA, because those things are, they're not going out. It's not one of these things like, oh, there was a fire and then it went. No, this is like fire until it rains, or fire until they do something. And it's kind of funny to see some people like defending Democrats or defending the mayor and defending Gavin Newsom and all these other kinds of things. Oh no, Karen Bass mucked up. Gavin Newsom mucked up. The DEI hire of the fire department mucked up. There's like 100 fire trucks that are waiting to be repaired from these. And I was listening to a YouTube show called Film Threat. And Film Threat with Chris Gore and Alan, the host, they're based in LA. Like, they're taking pictures of the fire. And so all these other people that are out there in like Utah and other places are trying to mansplain to you all this stuff. They don't know what they're talking about. Listen to Chris Gore. Listen to Alan from Film Threat. Listen to all those guys in the entertainment, the entertainment channels, because they're in LA and they're watching this happen, and they've been on the ground and they know what's going on. And every one of them, to a person, squarely putting the blame on Newsom, squarely putting the blame on Karen Bass, all of them. So I don't know the Tiger King. I never watched Tiger King. I don't have Netflix, so I can't really yeah, that's right. Meghan Markle was like, ooh, is there an opportunity for a photo? She ran and hugged somebody. And they were like, who are you? Which is even worse. They're like, what are you doing? I need like a house. I don't need you to hold me. So it is what it is in that regard. So I'm going to give you at least the latest in the maps and the images of what's going on in LA. Let's see. So there was a little bit better. So we have our fires. We have the Hearst fire. We have the Eden fire. We have the Malibu fire. As of right now, 3 fires are currently burning in the Los Angeles area. I will continue to advocate for the fact that this was a environmental terrorist attack. This was asymmetrical warfare that was put upon the people of Los Angeles. Was it burnt down so they can build 15-minute cities? Because Klaus Schwab and the WEF, they have a plan for Los Angeles 2028. And Los Angeles 2028 is supposed to be a 15-minute city, free of cars and all these things and all the worries that you have. But that's something you can look into. I don't have time for that. I don't have time or a rabbit hole deep enough to give you that. That's my personal opinion, but I don't want to cloud your judgment on what that could be. But here's the facts. Just the facts, ma'am. Palisades Largest active fire is burning between Santa Monica and Malibu. Burnt area, 23,713 acres. The Eaton fire, which is the second largest fire, burning north, 14,117. And then the Hearst fire, northeast side of the city, 799 acres. That's supposedly 89% contained, but I don't know what the hell that means. There are 6 other fires that have been contained as of this point. Kenneth fire, the Lydia fire, the Archer fire, the Woodley fire, the Olivia's fire, and the Sunset fire. All of these have been supposedly contained by the LA Fire Department, which, great for them. So now the point is, okay, what's going on after the fires, after this? And by the way, the stories that are coming out about the insurance agents and how they're apparently in California, the first person that needs to be on the scene of your burned house in order for your insurance to kick in is an insurance adjuster. So if you go back to your home and you take anything from that house, your insurance is null. People don't know that. But it does. So the idea is, what are we doing, Gavin? What are we doing going forward?
And then the Super Bowl, and then the Olympics. With this rebuilding effort needing to take place, is LA going to be ready for all of those global events?
Now, if you were with me last week, you saw Gavin do his taekwondo of political talking points, how he went through his taekwondo. I want you to watch Gavin Newsom's hands for the next 2 minutes. You're in for a real treat.
Is LA going to be ready for all of those global events?
My humble position, and it's not just being naively optimistic. That only reinforces.
What are you doing with your hands, Ricky Bobby?
The imperative moving quickly, doing in the spirit of collaboration and cooperation. President of the United States, Donald Trump, to his credit, was helpful in getting the Olympics.
Anybody else feel like Gavin Newsom is engaging in slam poetry?
To the United States of America to get it down here in LA. We thank him for that. This is an opportunity for him to shine, for this country to shine, for California and this community to shine. The opportunity with all of that and all that opportunity and that pride and spirit that comes from not just hosting those 3 iconic
Answer the
venues,
question.
but also the opportunity, I think, to rebuild at the same time. And that's why we're already organizing a Marshall Plan. We already have a team of looking and reimagining.
Is he like doing signs for his own talking? Does anybody else think like he's doing his own sign language or like some kind of gnarly interpretive dance? He is so full of it. He is so full of it. And you ask him a question, he turns into Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands.
LA 2.0, and we're making sure.
Did you hear that? He has a Marshall Plan 2.0 ready to go.
Everyone's included, not just the folks on the coast, people here that were ravaged by this disaster.
You just said you're organizing
So this is a very interesting question.
a Marshall Plan for the rebuilding of California. What is that Marshall Plan? Tell us.
Hey, I don't know who this guy is, but that's a decent question. You said Marshall Plan. What does that mean?
About this Marshall
We're just
Plan.
starting to lay out. We're still fighting these fires. So we're already talking to city leaders. We're already talking to civic leaders. We're already talking to business leaders and nonprofits. We're talking to labor leaders. We're starting to organize how we can put together a collection of individuals on philanthropy for recovery, how we can organize the region, how we can make sure that we are seeking federal assistance for the Olympics more broadly, but also federal assistance for the recovery efforts, and how we can galvanize the community with folks that love this community to really develop a mindset so that at scale we're dealing with the scope of this tragedy and responding to it at scale with efficiency, like the executive order I talked about, time value of delivery.
Like, come on, man. 0-1 first. You're telling you want to bring up Trump's accordion hands. He does, but you got to give Gavin Newsom credit on this one. That hand movement is like ALS perfection. You gotta go both ways on that. Yeah, Trump does the accordion. I get it. He just signed pretty much the entire language, like the entire alphabet. That's right. It was a word salad. You can't be a Democrat or Republican on this thing. Gavin Newsom is a terrible governor, and he has let down the people of his state. And now, anytime he gets a question, he is like Muhammad Ali of he did ducking and dodging and hitting using the hands and all this other kind of stuff. Just absolute ridiculousness.
Delivering projects, addressing building codes, addressing permitting issues, and moving forward to rebuilding and being more resilient.
What the hell did you just say? You talked for 2 minutes. You didn't say anything. You thought Kamala was bad. Gavin Newsom makes her look like a just an amateur, an absolute amateur. So it's crazy. And if you think that's bad, here's one more. Once again, just watch Gavin Newsom's body language.
To Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a.
Oh, if it continues, he starts going side to side, side to side, side to side. Like he starts floating back and forth. I wish I found that one, but. The LA fires continue to burn. The idea here is what? You want to be a person for president in 2028. You want to be a leader. Well, then you actually have to give answers. Karen Bass did one. I didn't even want to show you that because she's just smiling. She's like, "Hello, Los Angelinos. We're working on it." She's like, they're like, "Why are you smiling? The fires are still burning. People are dying. Why are you smiling?" These people are tone deaf. They don't understand these things. But you get what you vote for. Anyway, last story here on the Rickcast. I am the aforementioned Rick. I'm sorry, I had to put that 01 dude in timeout because he seemed like he was a little bit of TDS. Sorry, dude. I don't mind if you're a liberal. If you want to come on here and watch and give your opinion, no big deal. But don't bring me TDS onto my timeline because I'm just going to ban you. I don't have time. Nobody got time for that. So last story of the day, and this is just dealing with the inauguration that's coming up next week. The inauguration that's coming up next week that people are getting worried. People are getting worried about Trump, and I get it. I would be too. I would be worried about Trump because they tried to kill him twice, at least that we know of. Washington, D.C. is the swamp. It is the place that hates him the most. And, the Secret Service has shown that they are not exactly the best and the brightest at this point in time. So, or at least the leadership. Let me try. Everybody try that. I'll say this. The leadership of the Secret Service is not the best and the brightest at this time. So, let's take a look here. We have 3 different departments, or I did have 3 different departments that were talking about the security levels that were going to be necessary in order to protect President Trump. I guess I only have 2 out of the 3. You're going to get the picture, so it doesn't really matter. Let's go with our first one.
We are in a higher threat environment.
This is the Secret Service chief.
The last inauguration or previous inauguration. Last inauguration. Yeah. I would say we have a slightly more robust security plan. We've been planning for this event for 12 months, along with our partners. It's an ever-changing threat environment, and so we stay flexible. If we see that, hey, we need to shore this particular checkpoint up, we do that. So what's different? We've learned. This is our 5th NSSE this year in the Washington field office. We've done 83 NSSEs. Each one we take a look at, and if there's areas where we need to improve, we do it. But what I can tell you is that we are 100% confident in the plan.
So when he gives the acronym NSSE, that is a National Special Security Event. It's an event of national or international significance deemed by the United States Department of Homeland Security to be a potential target for terrorism or other criminal activity. So in case you're like, what is the acronym? That's a national special security event.
And we have put in place for this inauguration that the public and our protectees will be safe.
Man, it just fills you with confidence, doesn't it?
The biggest threat, I think, for all of us.
Pretty sure this is the head of the Capitol Police.
Remains the lone actor.
I don't know if that makes me feel better hearing that. The lone actor, the domestic violent extremist, as they would say in Homeland Security. Little unnerving that they're like, oh, everything's fine except for that lone actor. We gotta watch out for him.
In the past week, while President Carter was lying in state, we had 2 lone actors show up at the Capitol. One,
we covered him. Remember, machete.
Trying to bring in knives and a machete.
Machete.
Another one who was trying to, what I believe, to disrupt the proceedings by setting their car on fire down in the Peace Circle area. U.S. Capitol Police were able to interdict these folks before they had a chance to do any harm. But that threat of the lone actor remains the biggest justification for us being on at this heightened state of alert throughout the next week.
So that makes me a little nervous that they are being so pinned down, or they're concentrating so much on this lone wolf, this lone actor type, because when you narrow your focus to such a way, it means that when you have tunnel vision, you ignore all other options. Also, when you have these kind of pronunciations this far out, does that not feel like it's possibly setting up a narrative post? Now, I hope and pray that it is a safe inauguration. Trump's inaugurated and everything goes fine. But the way they talk with these things and the way narratives get set up and dropped or balloon, the balloon theory or whatever the balloon test, that makes me a little nervous as far as potential situations that can take place going down the line. So I'm going to monitor this as well for y'all, see what else they say as far as potential, warnings, press conferences, setups, and so forth going forward. Because you've already had 2 active attempts on the now president-elect this year. And how, what steps are they going to take to ensure that a third time doesn't happen? We can all only wait and see in that regard. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with me on Rickcast. I am the aforementioned Rick. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. Help the show reach as many people as possible. I thank you all for hanging out with me. I will talk to you all next week. I did not mean to hit that twice. Not next week. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Why are we looping? What buttons are happening? Don't do that. Thank you all for hanging out with me. God bless. I will talk to you all tomorrow. And as always, free Dexter Taylor.